Greetings from the city of brotherly love. I am Fernando Mendez, host of the Roundtable. We invite you to listen to our discussion of the themes of the day when we bring you regional, national, and international news. Señores oyentes de Uso de la Radio, estamos aquí de nuevo con el programa La Mesa Redonda de Roundtable, desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Mendez, Dani Ramos, dirige este programa y como de costumbre, pues noticias locales, nacionales, internacionales y como siempre sobre el COVID y sus variantes. Now we have Omicron. Estas variantes que no dejan que se acabe este virus. Omicron es la forma dominante ahora. Se manifiesta con menos efectos que el COVID-19 o Delta. Pero, pues, si usted es una persona vulnerable, de una cierta edad, con condiciones desfavorables para su salud, corre peligro. El problema es que, bueno, todavía hay millones de gente sin vacunarse. Y en cuanto a eso, pues hay noticias, como siempre, controvertidas de gente que no quiere vacunarse, que deciden por algún momento, y esta responsabilidad de ciertos atletas que no han querido hacer lo que tienen que hacer aquí en Estados Unidos, y el más famoso en este momento es Djokovic en Australia. Él llegó al país, pues aterrizó, y luego se probó que estaba vacunado, o por lo menos pues, no ha dicho. Ese es uno de los asuntos, ¿no? No ha dicho que estaba vacunado y encima de todo pues mostró efectos del COVID. Entonces pues las autoridades lo pusieron en un hotel. No es una prisión, pero estaba bajo órdenes del gobierno de aislarse en un hotel. Resulta que durante el fin de semana un juez en Australia decidió que el gobierno no podía quedarse con Djokovic en el hotel, que el gobierno tenía que dejarlo salir porque se avecina ya el torneo de tenis en Australia. Bueno, esto para ilustrar nomás el hecho de que hay tanta gente famosa, atletas famosos aquí y allá, por todas partes que bueno, pues desafían la lógica. Sabemos que hay vacunas. Sabemos que si usted no se vacuna, corre peligro de contraer la enfermedad. Sabemos que si usted ya sufre, su salud sufre, una enfermedad de este tipo puede ponerle fin a su vida. Y sin embargo, pues hay gente que no quiere. No quieren obedecer la lógica. Bueno, como ya sabemos, la falta de lógica, pues no solamente en cuanto a la salud, pero ya la hemos visto en cuanto a la política, ¿no? Se ha manifestado duramente lo de la política, que no quieren aceptar estas gentes de la extrema derecha. Pues esto ya no es ni una visión, ni una filosofía política. Es simplemente la terquedad de la ignorancia. Me gusta esa frase, ¿no? La terquedad de la ignorancia, the stubbornness of ignorance. That's what it is. Esta gente no quiere vacunarse. Es la misma gente, posiblemente, entre ellos los que intentaron ocupar el Capitolio el 6 de enero del 21. Es increíble que hace más de un año ya que ocurrió esto. Entonces hubo una serie de programas en todas las redes mayores, en CNN, en CBS, MSNBC, por todas partes, menos en una. Y adivine en cuál red no se mostró. Y si usted no puede adivinar, eso quiere decir que usted no ni lee, ni mira la televisión, ni escucha la radio. Mejor dicho, usted está dedicado a no saber nada sobre lo que está ocurriendo. Entonces, porque si usted nada más abre su teléfono, si prende la televisión, si prende el televisor, prende la radio, prende su aparato que se llama el radio para escuchar la radio. Entonces, bueno, usted ya sabría um, que hubo un montón de gente en el Capitolio, miles, y que curiosamente los republicanos no lo reconocen. Eso es lo que yo no entiendo. ¿Por qué? Es como, yo he tratado de dar ejemplos, he tratado de dar ejemplos, a ver, de el contraste entre ese pensamiento y la lógica. De que yo digo que en este momento son aproximadamente las 10 de la mañana, hace sol, es de día. Yo veo claramente que el cielo es azul y que está brillando el sol. Pero según la lógica de esta gente, no es de día, no hay sol, y lo que yo veo es mi imaginación. Por eso este congresista que declaró que, a ver si yo puedo parafrasear lo que dijo que si no fuera por algunos videos, algo así, usted hubiera pensado que esa invasión que contemplamos fue una visita turística muy acostumbrada, muy común en el Capitolio, si no hubiera sido por el hecho de que ha muerto gente, de que golpearon a cientos de policías, que tenemos todo esto en video, que hay fotografías, que mira, hay cientos de fotos, videos de gente que simplemente los tenía en sus teléfonos y que muchos de ellos, para que vean ustedes qué tan inocentes, naif, mucha de esta gente, usaron estos videos para ufanarse de haber estado allí en Washington en el Capitolio, haber participado en la demostración organizada por el presidente y sus secuaces. Lo bonito de todo esto es que hay evidencia en abundancia, inescapable evidencia. Este CNN estaba mostrando en algún momento las declaraciones de Rudy Giuliani, en lo que se veía algo así como The Four Seasons, que es una marca distinguida de un hotel. Esto llevó a broma con respecto a eso, que era Four Seasons Landscaping, que no tenía nada que ver con el hotel. Pero es parte de esta, como una especie de broma, no, no se entiende cómo es posible que uno de los héroes del 9/11, del 9/11, el ex alcalde de Nueva York, que simplemente por haber estado allí geográficamente en the right place at the right time, en el sitio apropiado, en el momento apropiado, se le vio como el líder para responder a este ataque terrorista del 9/11. Examinemos por un segundo, ¿no? Que este ya es un territorio que ya hemos caminado. Pero, ¿cómo es posible que se humille de tal modo? Porque poco después de este pequeño discurso para repetir la gran mentira, allí en el Four Seasons Landscape Parking Lot. Es un sitio de estacionamiento ahí con un aviso detrás de él que decía Four Seasons Landscape. ¿Cómo es posible que este señor, repito, otra vez un héroe del 9/11, una persona que se había ganado el resto de la nación, simplemente por estar allí, ¿ok? Porque él no tenía otra opción que responder, siendo el alcalde, habiendo salido ileso de ese bombardeo, habiendo estado ahí cerca del incidente, se presentó simplemente, aquí estoy, yo soy el alcalde y yo vengo a ver qué pasó. Se convirtió en héroe. Él no hizo nada, no rescató a nadie, ¿no? En ningún momento se le ve lleno de polvo como se veía la gente que estaba rescatando a, ¿no? los first responders que estaban rescatando gente que se metían al edificio arriesgando la vida con sus camisas llenas de sangre y ceniza. Uh, Él simplemente estaba allí. Um, Bueno, y no le quito el hecho de porque en ese momento, sin saber qué más podía pasar, eh, yo no hubiera estado ahí metido, no hubiera estado ni cerca del sitio, bueno, a menos que yo hubiera sido el alcalde de Nueva York. Am, pero este señor, luego él y esta, ¿cómo se llama? Sidney Powell, esta señora, dos payasos, dos payasos con su ah, acto de entretenimiento por todo el país. Se iban a un lobby de un hotel y organizaban una conferencia de prensa que tenía todo el carácter oficial de charades, ¿no? De un juego de charadas. ¿Cómo se llama eso? No sé. Charades en inglés. En todo caso, organizaban esto y luego hacían estas declaraciones infundadas, sin bases, sin presentar evidencia, simplemente inventando que había, era como, como una especie como magia lo que estaba ocurriendo en el medio ambiente, había magia, estaban desapareciendo los votos de Donald Trump y aparecían los votos para Biden. Por todas partes estaba pasando esto, sin ningún fundamento. Más de 60 veces en las cortes, Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell y otros, hay otros cuyos nombres no recuerdo ni quiero recordar. Pero estos dos payasos, son un par de payasos famosos.
Alert from
Y estaba
document
ahí el
writer pro.
señor ese, ¿cómo se llama?
The document, the
Estaba
Roundtable,
allí.
January 10th, 2022, could not be saved due to lack
Ok,
of
no sé qué
permission
está
to write
pasando
the
aquí, es
file.
interferencia probablemente de los trompistas, no quieren que yo hable. Bueno, en todo caso, este, este señor Giuliani y esta señora Powell estaban vendiendo una mentira, la gran mentira. Por todas las cortes fallaron. En todas partes, los attorney generals de la mayoría de los estados habían certificado el voto, etc. Pero ellos insistieron y han seguido insistiendo. Bueno, vamos a tomar una breve pausa aquí en Usa la Radio. Les habla Fernando Mendez. Dani Ramos controla la máquina digital en The Roundtable, desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal. Regresamos en un momento.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
Había un niño que era muy sensible a luces y sonidos. Construía escondites donde no podían entrar. No le gustaba mirar a la gente a los ojos. Lo hacía sentir incómodo. Un día se descubrió que tenía autismo. Con ayuda, poco a poco, aprendió a vivir mejor con ello.
Mientras más pronto se diagnostique, mejor. Conoce las señales en autismspeaks.org.
Señores oyentes de Usa la Radio, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda de Roundtable. Desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Mendez, Dani Ramos at the controls. Well, I just spent some time speaking about January 6th. What is fascinating is that because it was a year ago, we have seen, and I wish I could show you clips because they are very impressive, how they organized the presentation. CNN, Tapper, maybe it was the lead, presentando día por día, presenting day by day what happened towards the insurrection. Fascinante lo que ocurrió, cómo se organizaron. Y ahora se sabe que había un subgabinete que se estaba reuniendo cerca de la Casa Blanca, los revolucionarios, los revoltosos, los que estaban organizando el golpe de Estado. Giuliani estaba allí, junto con este señor que siempre ha estado metido en todo este asunto, y Trump Jr. estaba allí. Había gente de la Casa Blanca, hubo una reunión, creo que era virtual, con más de 100 representantes, muchos de los cuales luego votaron, a pesar de haber estado sus vidas en peligro, luego votaron en contra de la certificación del voto. Sabemos que este grupo de rebeldes estaban todos organizados alrededor del presidente, impulsados por el presidente. Y si no, oigan lo que dice Trump en algún momento, dice, vayan, I will see you there, yo los encuentro allí, hay que ir allá, porque si usted no actúa con fuerza, no va a tener un país. Así les dice.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
Amazing. Thank you, Danny, for that clip. It's amazing. We have all the evidence. What I just say about night and day, about the fact that I say day and you say night, in spite of the evidence, in spite of the sun shining on my face, you say, no, it's night, it's dark. That's what these people are doing right now. No matter what you say to them, this is the reality. Look at Trump. Look at Trump inciting to riot. Look at the people breaking into the Capitol. I would like to find another clip, if Danny can find a clip of the congressman who said this was just another visit by tourists to the Capitol. It's unbelievable. And that's the kind of mentality. You cannot convince them of anything. This is where that and maybe intellectual snobbery, I don't know, the way Barack Obama spoke about this lack of consistency between reality and fake news. He speaks about epistemology, which is the science of knowledge, how we know, what we know, and how we know. In that brief, in one word, he summarized the conflict that we have here. We know what we know, we see and we learn, we understand, we make the connection between Trump, his speech, along with all the other insurgents, Giuliani again among them, and the effects of that, how these people end up invading the Capitol in the name of Trump. It doesn't take a huge leap of logic. If I am insisted on this point, and I have throughout, and I will do more programs of this type, bring up again the lack of consistency, the total absence of logic and understanding. If epistemology is the art of knowing how we know, is the study of knowledge, how we know, we see, we read, we hear, and we put all this together and absorb it, and it understanding dawns on us because of the evidence of a picture, of a word that we hear or we read. That's how we know, that's how we understand things. And that's the huge gap, tremendous gap, tremendous, a failure to put all these things together by these minds that are so obdurate, they are so stubborn about not wanting to know. It's a determined ignorance. And you cannot change minds like that. It really is impossible to change a mind that is so determined to remain ignorant of the facts and to fail to understand logic. 1 + 1 is 2. There is night and day, and if there is sunshine, it's daytime. Those are simple steps. So these programs on CNN, MSNBC, and many of the networks, 2 hours long programs outlining exactly what happened with dates, with names, with time and place. This is what happened on such and such a date. This is what happened on the following day. This is how we end up at that rally for Trump, and how at that rally, Trump promotes the violence, incites to violence. In almost any other culture, I cannot imagine. Maybe Mussolini and Hitler enjoy that kind of adulation and following without a sense of logic. But I think in the reaction in most systems will be to arrest, imprison the main culprits. But here we are, and only the little people. I'd say that in the sense of they are not the leaders of this riot. They are not the leaders of this plot to destroy democracy. The little people, the people who do the work every day, the oath keepers, the proud boys who were listening to Steve Bannon and to the other miscreants who followed Trump. And they're using that as a defense. They trusted their president. The president was calling for them to come to Washington to save democracy. But maybe we'll find an illustration of what Steve Bannon said the day before. He said, "Look, this is not going to be anything like what you imagine. This is going to be different." He was already threatening. It was a veiled threat. You have not seen this before. That was Steve Bannon sort of announcing what was coming. Why? Because he knew from this small group of people who were directing the whole process, the whole structure of the coup that they had built from day one. They wanted to keep Donald Trump in power. And this group of people had organized everything. They had directed traffic. People who flew in, one very rich woman, prominently interviewed many times, who said she flew her airplane to Washington, a private plane. So again, when I say little people, I don't mean like, the impoverished masses. I mean the people who were just doing the work of the top guys who are hiding under executive privilege. I don't understand that. Like Mark Meadows, the chief of staff. And he knew, Mark Meadows knew what was coming. Like Steve Bannon, like Giuliani, like all these people who were planning at a hotel nearby, not far from the White House, because they wanted to be ready. They wanted to be ready. As soon as they were told, we won, we stopped the process, there is no certification. That was the plan, to stop the certification. There was only one flaw. Well, there were many flaws, but there was one crucial element. They were unable to get Pence to join. And Pence tried. Pence talked to Dan Quayle, and Dan Quayle told him, you have no choice. You have to certify. You have to certify Mike Pence against what you thought you wanted to help Trump. That was the flaw. It failed. And then Trump said that Pence was a traitor. And there was a noose waiting for Pence at the Capitol. We'll talk about that news later. Anyway, señores oyentes, están escuchando la mesa redonda de Roundtable en Usa la Radio. Les habla Fernando Mendez. Dani Ramos controla el proceso aquí. Regresamos en un momento.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Señoras oyentes de Usa la Radio, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda de Roundtable desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Mendez, Dani Ramos at the controls, and I get sidetracked because this January 6th insurrection is an endless fountain of controversy. But above all, and here's something that I want to understand. This was clearly a threat to democracy. This was without any doubt a determined, planned attack on our system of government. It was a plan to stage a coup d'état, a golpe de Estado, overthrow the government. Because remember, January 6th, Joe Biden had already won. All this was about on January 6th at the Capitol was for Pence to officially put all the votes together, put all the votes together and certify the election and say, yes, Joe Biden has the number of votes required to be the president by the Constitution. So the plan, because all the other avenues have been exhausted all along the way from the defeat of November 3rd. Even before that, please, let's remember 2016, 2015, when Trump was already foreshadowing his reaction to defeat, announcing that the only way he could lose is if there was something wrong with the vote, if it was stolen from him. Way back. His arrogance in the debates with Hillary Clinton, because he didn't see her as a threat. He knew that no matter what happened with her, he would question the vote. He would challenge the results. He wanted to be president. Why? It's another story. I would like to know why this incompetent man with no ethics and no conscience, why he wanted to be the president. But remember that. So he dedicated the 4 years of his presidency to undo our institutions, to discredit as much as possible any possibility of challenges to his desire to be a dictator. Let's remember that one of the main objectives of his administration was to discredit the media, discredit the press, fake news. And he had a platform in Fox. Nobody else was following suit. But I want to understand why the Democratic Party is not reacting more strongly. For the first time, we just heard Joe Biden openly challenge Trump, accuse him of misdeeds, accuse him of doing what he has been doing. For the first time, openly challenging Trump's assertions that he won the election, that the vote was stolen, that Biden is not a legitimate president. Biden won. It was constitutional. It was certified. Everything else is a lie. So why? Two things. Two things very important at this moment. One, why are the Republicans, the leaders of the Republican Party, who simply support Trump, knowing that there is a big lie under all this, the foundation of this? So many Republicans. It's a handful of them, and we saw Liz Cheney and her father, Dick Cheney, at the ceremony honoring the people who defended the Capitol on January 6th of 21. Two Republicans from the whole country, from the millions of Republicans, two Republicans, from the thousands of Republicans in Washington, from the hundreds of representatives from the Republican Party, two people, one of them retired, Dick Cheney, one of them ostracized because she challenged the Republican Party for not accepting the vote. So why are we still, the Democratic Party, not reacting to this, not reacting to this obscene lie that threatens to destroy everything that we have built? Not me. I mean, people who came before us, generations that built this country, generations who believed the promise at the feet of the Statue of Liberty, generations who believed that the Constitution would protect us. The Constitution is under attack. Our institutions have been under attack. Democracy is in danger. Democracy is in danger. There are books right now. You find dozens of books right now written by people who believe that we are under attack, that democracy is in peril. That is not a joke. That is not an empty threat over us. It's a real and urgent threat. Why are the Democrats not reacting in every state? Republicans are changing the rules. Okay, this is what they're doing right now. So they lost. They lost the court challenges after November 3rd. They more than 60 all around the country. They lost in Georgia. They lost in Arizona. They lost in Pennsylvania. They keep doing and asking for recount and still saying that the vote was stolen, that we had bags of illegal votes, that the machines were intervened, even with some satellite technology. None of that happened. None of that happened. Yes, obviously, there were a few incidents of voter fraud, maybe repeating votes, some of them for Trump, but nothing that would change the outcome of the election. Chris Krebs said that this was the cleanest election in American history, the most supervised election in American history. What? Yes, it was, because people already knew that everything would be challenged. So they were very careful. You know what the Trump people won? One court appeal based on false information too, but they won. They said that there were no Republicans present. It was Pennsylvania, I think it was Philadelphia, that they had no access to the place where the votes were being counted. False. They had Republicans there. There was a Republican gentleman interviewed who was part of the process. He was one of the officials in the county. He said there was no fraud here. There was nothing. The Republicans had access to the place. They could see what was happening. Nobody was hiding anything from them. So that was based on that lie. They won. Yeah, they were given a closer look. Get closer to the tables. That didn't change the outcome. That's it. Everything else is a lie and exaggeration. But it doesn't change. It doesn't change. The liar in chief still at Mar-a-Lago repeating the big lie. Still, oh yeah, he called at some point, he called people who were in charge of counting the vote, congressmen, anybody he could get, call them to Mar-a-Lago, tell them they had to save the country. And so we have only scratched the surface of what he did in our country, what he did domestically, what he did to our institutions, the media, the Justice Department. Remember Bill Blass? Bill Blass is, I'm sorry, Bill Blass is a fashion. Bill Barr. Yeah, well, you will remember Bill Blass, but it was for maybe clothing in bad taste. But Bill Barr, the Attorney General Bill Barr, who, remember the Mueller report, 300 pages or more, I don't know, he summarized in four pages, absolving Trump, because he acted as Trump's lawyer. He was the Attorney General for the United States, but he was Trump's lawyer, basically, which he had been looking for all along. And he said there was no collusion, there was no conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. And so the Mueller report, which should have been the foundation for throwing Donald Trump out of office, could not be used because the Attorney General had put a seal on it saying, nothing here. That man has to live with his conscience for the rest of his life for all the damage he did to this country. He has a conscience, I believe. In the end, he couldn't do what Trump wanted. And Trump got rid of him, basically. He resigned, but it's one of the things. Bill Barr, so Mr. Trump had managed to destroy the media, faith in the media, faith in the Constitution, faith in the Justice Department, faith in the voting system in this country, which had given us a clean election in 2020. And that's only internal damage. This is the damage that we can see in our nation. Look at what he did to the image of the United States outside this country, in Latin America, in Europe, doing the job of Putin, discrediting us, sowing a seed of destruction between NATO, the alliance, and us. Beautiful job, Mr. Trump, outside this country. Not to speak of the damage to the environment, not to speak of all the atrocities about worshiping Kim Jong-un and Xi and Putin. Putin, yes, holding hands with Putin. Anyway, so we're going to take a brief pause here in Usa la Radio. Les habla Fernando Mendez, Dani Ramos at the controls. Estamos en la mesa redonda, regresamos en un momento.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Bueno, señores oyentes de USA la Radio, estamos aquí de nuevo con su programa La Mesa Redonda de Roundtable, desde el corazón de la ciudad del amor fraternal. Les habla Fernando Mendez, Danny Ramos at the controls. Well, I get sidetracked this January 6th, a day that shall live in infamy. I get sidetracked all the time because it's fascinating. It's upsetting that all the criminals are getting away with it. What was that cabal that gathered in Washington that had inspired the riot and the insurrection? The insurrection that a congressman, I cannot remember his name right now, and I probably don't want to. Starts with a G, I believe. It's a congressman who said it was just another day of tourists walking through the Capitol. I don't know what the people who organized this, Giuliani and Steve Bannon and the rest of them, Mark Meadows, Jim Jones, the 100 and so congressmen who had a virtual meeting knowing what was coming, and then they voted against certification. Remember that. Remember, that's a disgrace. It is already a fact that Biden won. There's only one legal and customary step to issue a certification signed by the vice president, who presides over Congress. They didn't do it. They could not bring themselves to go against Trump. What a disgrace. Anyway, these people are still there. They're still walking the halls of Congress, still in a very cynical support of Trump and his policies, knowing that they are all just feeding his ego. What Biden said in his speech that it was just his ego was bruised, Trump's ego, but Trump said that he won, that it was a big lie, and Biden said, "No, you lost. You're a former president. You lost." The one thing that Trump doesn't like, the big L on his forehead. Loser. Unbelievable. Anyway, but there are other things. At least, you know what? We don't have Nicaragua. You know what happened in Nicaragua? Daniel Ortega. Mr. Ortega, darling of the left, hero to all. By the way, there's a meeting in Switzerland right now, US and Russia, talks over Ukraine. Nobody's optimistic about the outcome. So, and Putin, who troops at the border with Ukraine. My thoughts on this: the US cannot trust Putin no matter what he promises. He only understands strength. He will sign anything, promise anything, and just move ahead with his agenda to rebuild the Soviet empire. He wants that. He announced that in his speech, actually, back sometime in 2008, I don't know, a long time ago. He announced that he wanted to rebuild the Soviet empire. Oh, he will sign anything, promise anything, he would just move ahead. He doesn't care about anything, but laws. What? I sign what? And a clear sign that the Ukrainians don't even trust anything that Putin promises, no matter what he signs at the talks, no matter what agreements we have. The Ukrainians know the reality and they are already building trenches, preparing for the invasion. They know it's coming. And they know NATO seems paralyzed right now. This is what the Soviets would say: probe until you hit steel, then withdraw. That was quoted by Garry Kasparov. He says, a reality check. There is no US ambassador in Ukraine, and we are in diplomatic talks with the terrorists. The West, NATO, should be making demands from the terrorists. 2007 speech in Munich already explained his plan to rebuild the USSR, the Soviet Empire. He wants to divide NATO and make Europe dependent on Russian gas. That's true. Also in the news, Novak Djokovic. A judge ordered immediate release of the tennis star. He was denied entry by the Australian authorities after he showed up without proof of vaccine, etc. Now apparently he has COVID, but anyway, they're going to let him play. It means the laws are made for the little people, for the people who have no power. Imagine any of the average players with no papers or no COVID vaccine. They wouldn't let him in. But this guy is a moneymaker for them. So, you know what they say about money speaks. It's incredible. But I guess it's so the tail wagging the dog nowadays. We know what it means. They will do anything because he brings money to the tournament. Anyway, so I was going to spend a couple of minutes about Daniel Ortega, Nicaragua, former hero of the revolution, the Sandinista revolution, former revolutionary leader, and now he's an opposition hate figure. Short in stature with big square glasses, Daniel Ortega did not resemble a typical military strongman when he first caught the world's attention in the 1980s. Yet, as the leader of Nicaragua's left-wing Sandinista revolution, he was credited with first bringing down a dictator and then the US-sponsored rebels who tried to block his move into legitimate power. Now, in 2022, 4 decades later, he is being sworn in for his 4th consecutive term as president and is the longest service leader in the Americas. But in recent appearances, he has looked frail and his speeches have been increasingly erratic. To his supporters, he remains a true patriot. They call him Comandante Daniel, with a mix of reverence and affection. Even these scoundrels have support. So he's a leftist, lefty loony, as I call him. But the people who love him, people who love Donald Trump, logic and reasoning doesn't matter. It's what they believe, and they believe he's a hero, and they will keep him in power until there's something too outrageous to even from him they would not be able to accept. So he won the second term and fourth term in 6, 11, and 2016. And now the protests in 2018 were the largest ever. And now he's, okay, now what he did is he put anybody who declared a candidacy against him in prison. Imagine that. That's, who would love to do that? Donald Trump. He wanted, remember that? He wanted Biden in jail. I have no idea how he was going to put him in jail, but he wanted to do that. Anyway, another hour of Úsala Radio on the Roundtable. Muchas gracias por su sintonía en el día de hoy. Se despide de ustedes Fernando Mendez, Dani Ramos at the controls. Los esperamos hasta la próxima. Greetings from the city of brotherly love. I am Fernando Mendez, host of the Roundtable. We invite you to listen to our discussion of the themes of the day when we bring you regional, national, and international news.